And hello and welcome. Again, I am Tatiana, and it's February 5th. It's a Monday. We are going to be talking about nutrition and movement and everything 40 plus. Really just not even 40 plus. You can be in your 30s or 20s and watching this. Hi, Tabitha.
Hi, Tatiana.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. I was just making sure the tech was working, and I'm recording it. That way we can send it to anyone that needs the replay. And I'm also streaming it into my live or in my Facebook group so that if anyone happens to be watching can catch us live, and then I can check if there's questions.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, if
Don't
they're
worry.
watching from the Facebook group, I don't think we'll see them like on the Zoom, but they can type a question and then we can answer. So we will officially get started in maybe a minute or two, but we'll just let people trickle in and grab their lunches or their coffees. How are you doing? Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, it was absolutely beautiful here. Probably in the 60s with the sun shining. So we were outside enjoying it.
Do you, is there a winter in Italy?
Yeah, there
Oh,
is. I mean,
okay.
it's not a Canadian winter, but it definitely is winter. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
It should not be 60 degrees outside.
Okay. Well, I don't even know what that is because we do Celsius. So I'm like, is that?
Oh, yeah, it's like 18 maybe. It was
Oh,
17 or
that's so
18.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really unusual because the week before it was two.
Oh,
So
okay. That's
if
quite
that tells
the,
you.
yeah, two spectrums. All right. Well, if anyone is catching us live, just a reminder that you're welcome to join us on the Zoom link. We'd love to see your faces. If you're feeling shy, you can type your question in either the Zoom chat. Oh, maybe I should make you a host too, eh? Let's see if I can do that. Um, Make co-host. Yay. There. That
I'm
way you
loving your
can see
fiddlies
stuff
back there.
too. Can you see that? Yeah. And we can officially get started. All right. So, why don't you go first? Do you want to intro yourself a little bit?
Sure. Hi, everyone. And I just want to say thank you to Tatiana, who invited me to be a part of this call today because her and I are extremely passionate about our respective careers. So I'm a health coach with a focus on nutrition, and I really help women who are dealing with a lot of chronic pain, low energy, maybe some hormonal issues, digestive issues, sleep issues. And my focus is to help them to use food within their life to actually transform and get their energy back and get their mood happy and balanced, get their digestion back, and not have that constant bloating and heaviness, as well as just to feel overall look, feel, and perform better than they did. Many of my clients say even better than they did 20 years ago. So this is my goal and my focus, and what I really love to do, what I want to bring to the table of letting people know that we're not stuck in ill health or not feeling our best. There's so much we can do.
I love that. Yeah, this morning I saw on LinkedIn a quote that was prevention is, oh, what was this word? Prevention is the more powerful than any cure, something like that.
Mm.
And even if someone is maybe suffering or trying to deal with some aches and pains or inflammation or bloating, we can use tools that are at our fingertips, truly, to help us and then move forward in that positive health change. it doesn't need to always be, I mean, if you need it, for sure, medicine, surgery, like all that kind of cure stuff. If you need it, you need it. But then, like, how do you prevent it from happening again, right? And how do we use food as medicine? And how do we use movement to keep our bodies healthy and strong and be able to show up how we want and do all the things we love? So I think this is why you and I like are drawn to each other, is because we really are passionate about like digging deep within um through, I think the magic is mindfulness.
Mm.
What do you think about that? I feel like
Well,
everything circles back to that mindset and mindfulness.
100%. I completely agree. I have seen it time and time again that those who are determined to see a change in how they feel, they are so sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. They're the ones that have the most success because here they know that it's possible and they're willing to put in those, the effort that is required from each one of us when we want to make changes. A lot of it comes from really connecting deep down with why we want to see change.
Mm,
What would that feel like if I actually had the energy to spend time with my family, with my grandkids, or with my kids, and be present and here for them. And
mhm.
those that are really tied into that strong motivation, sky's the limit.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who maybe feels like they're not even aware of that? Like they don't even realize that the day-to-day bloating, the day-to-day feeling stuck in their bodies, the fatigue, like what do you say to those that maybe don't realize there's a choice there? That that's
Well,
normal part of aging, let's say.
yeah, and that's it. That's something that I hear a lot is, well, I'm in my 40s, so it's just, it's just a part of it. And it's not like from one day to the next, they learn out, that is a learned behavior and a learned thought pattern. So they don't unlearn it in a day. But that's where working with coaches is so important because we're going to be walking you through over a period of maybe a couple of months, walking you through even the mindset part that accompanies that thought process and helping you to tune into how your body actually feels. One of the things that I notice so often is when we do our first consultation with a client and I'm asking them all of these questions, many times they're even surprised by their own responses. They haven't really thought it through of
Right.
how they actually feel on a day-to-day basis. And
Okay.
then, yeah, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
then you get back to them at that following consultation and you help them to see this is where you were a month ago. This is where you are now. How does that feel? And their mind is blown because
Mm-hmm.
they've seen little changes over the course of those 30 days that maybe they just weren't in tune with their body to recognize that it was happening. But looking back over those past 30 days, it's like, oh yeah, that did happen. I did used to constantly feel bloated. I had a client tell me she was always constantly gassy and she just realized today that she's no longer gassy. She's like, that's enormous. It's been years like that.
That is so cool. And I think it's really interesting because in my program, I have a big emphasis on journaling
Mm,
because I think it's so easy to forget how far we've come when you take small, actionable baby steps. And it
yes.
doesn't feel like all or nothing, but that's a good thing, right? Because that kind of crazy exercise regime or diet change is not sustainable. But these small, healthy, little bite-sized pieces that I think you and I coach people on,
Mhm.
maybe you don't realize the change overnight, right? But if you journal and you have someone to help you kind of milk it out and reflect, and 30 days, 45 days later, you're like, oh, actually, there's a big shift. But it's hard to kind of detect sometimes because it's not big and flashy, right? Your story reminds me of a client recently. She graduated right before Christmas, so we worked together in the fall. And one day she was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to push to pee anymore." Because I work a lot with women and their inner core and their pelvic floor and breath. And I think that was something she didn't even realize she was doing, like before she signed up to work with me. And then after, and it wasn't like she came with that problem. It's not like she came and said,
Right.
"Oh, like I want to solve the issue of when I go to the bathroom, I like push to pee my pee out." But in working together on her pelvic floor and her core and breath, she noticed that when she goes to the bathroom, there's like an ease, like she can just relax and pee. It's not like a bear down and pee, which is like, she's like, "This is, I don't know if this is like weird to tell you or," and I was like, "No, that's a huge win." Like I was so happy for her. We are like jumping up and down because something even like that's so simple, but we do it every day, right? We all go to the bathroom and like you're not having a baby every time you go to the bathroom. You don't need to be pushing that, but it's just so cool to like have that reflection and realize like, wow, like my body's working for me now the way it's supposed to because I put in the work. Like that's how she felt, right? So I just think
Exactly.
it's so neat when you slow things down a little bit and really, like you said, tune in and our bodies do tell us.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, how do you use mindful movement and journaling together?
Okay, so a lot of I'm a physiotherapist by like professional background, and then I dove into yoga like early on in my practice, so really blending the two. And so a lot of people seek me because they have aches and pains in their body, right? And journaling about it, I think, is really important because pain is very subjective. We can make objective measures, right? There's lots of tools out there, but really, like one person's 3 out of 10 is probably different than your 3 out of 10 pain. So, really writing about it and like giving as much detail as you can, like whether it's numb, tingly, sharp shooting, throbbing, toothache pain, like there's so many different kinds of pain. And just being able to kind of like start at a baseline. So right now, if you're watching and you suffer from, let's say, back pain, like actually writing it down and rating it. Give it a rating out of 10. 0 is no pain, 10 is the worst pain I've ever had, right? Write down how your back's feeling right now. Then you work with me or do the thing that you think will help you change, whether it's okay, every day I'm going to do like this stretch. And by the way, Tabitha and I both have awesome free resources, so we'll post our links in the chat. But for me, I always tell people you have to move in XYZ, meaning our back is 3D. And most of us work at a computer, we're guilty of it right now, and we're always in this like X plane, but there's also Y plane and Z. Okay. So I always tell my clients, if you do anything throughout the day, you must do XYZ. You're not a 2D flat cartoon, you're 3D and your spine wants to move in 3D. So do that for a week, making sure that you try to move XYZ, let's say every hour. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's literally like this. X, Y, and Z. And if that hurts, that's your body telling you you haven't moved like that in a while. So don't go extreme, just start small. I just did it very quickly, but you could do it slower. And in a week, journal again about your back pain. Like rate it again without looking at what you wrote last week and see, like, is there change? And usually there is change. But you wouldn't have known it if you didn't write it down. So that's why I think, well, journaling is so cool for many reasons. And also mindful movement is so cool because when you're going to move your body, you might as well be mindful about it. It's going to give you more bang for your buck. Kind of like eating. Would you agree for
Yeah.
eating? Like if you shovel food down your throat because you're hungry versus like just taking a pause, not a long pause, but like, okay, like what do I actually want to eat right now? and I'm gonna enjoy it for like 5 minutes. Like that's not that much time, right?
Yeah.
I think that's quite different than driving in your car and like wolfing down a sandwich. Like,
It's true.
how would you like explain that? Like, why is there a difference between that mindful eating versus not?
So many reasons, and we are all guilty of it. Like, I'm not coming here to say I'm perfect at anything, but the reason why it's important is, number one, digestion starts in our mouth. It is
Mm,
actually starts with our olfactory senses. So this whole shoveling things in our mouth, we're not even developing and giving our body enough time to respond, to create digestive juices, the enzymes that are needed to break down our foods. And today's modern lifestyle is already very stressful for our nervous system. Our nervous
right.
system is many times in that fight or flight mode. And that is the exact opposite of what's called rest and digest. And rest and digest is when your body is relaxed. You can absorb the nutrients from your food. You actually can provide that nutrition to your cells can utilize it. But when you're in this constant stress, your body's not able to do that. So you're already limiting what little nutrition is potentially in the food that you're eating when you're running and on the go. Many times those are nutrient deficient foods. Um, and then on top of that, your body is already limited in being able to absorb and utilize them. So one of the things that I coach my clients to do is, many times they're coming to me, and I'm going to make this a whole rounded thing at the end, but they're coming to me with typical diet culture mentality of, the only way I can get healthy and get well is by restricting carbs or cutting out, being really limited, and having this limited mindset. And then diet mentality is this mindset that is, I am in a negative mental space around the food that I'm eating. I already have a negative viewpoint towards it because it's diet. And
That's
all
so
my
interesting.
and yeah, so we're already treating it as an inferior part of our daily routine. Yes, I have to do it, but I don't like it. Nothing is good is gonna come from it. I'm just gonna lose the weight, or I'm just going to, do this
Yeah.
period of time. And it's not about making actual transformational changes that go to influence the rest of your life.
Mm,
What I encourage my clients to do is actually to treat your meal with respect, to start to view it as an opportunity to fuel yourself for the rest of the day because you want to do something. So getting out a nice plate and setting yourself a little piece on the table. And if you only have 10 minutes, Gall dang girl, spend those 10 minutes just enjoying the view, looking out, like allow yourself that emotional space to really enjoy the food that is fueling your body and giving your cells life. It's a beautiful cycle that we have. And we can actually start to fall in love with eating in a way that fuels ourselves. When we see that we deserve it, we earned it. This is something, it's not the ice cream that we earned, right? We earn a life of really feeling our absolute best, and seeing that nature gives us all the beautiful things that our body could want. And it's actually a miracle on a plate. When I look at a plate of food that was grown outside, like that's a miracle on a plate, really, and what it can do for our body and what it can do for our cells. And so it's just that mindfulness around
mm,
allowing ourselves
yeah.
to that we deserve that. And so it's not limiting, it's actually, I view it as it's opening up a whole wide world of what nature can provide for us.
So
And
what happens, and I get that and I love that, but what happens when someone is a little bit have struggling with the cravings? I hear this a lot. Like I love sugar, I can't help it, willpower, like the late night. Like how do we, because I think a lot of people like during the day, they're like it feels easier to control maybe. But then it's like after the kids go to bed and it's like your wind down, it feels like that now is my time to relax and I deserve because I've worked so hard all day. How do we flip that into like, and I don't think it's like a bad thing to have a treat or two. Am I right?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I
So,
don't have a restrictive mentality at all around that.
okay.
I really believe that, well, and let me, the side point is that we want to make sure that the cravings don't come from a source of dysbiosis in the gut. So we're working on gut health because sometimes that can be an issue, or parasites could be an issue. And then it's not us that's actually having the craving. It's just a physical thing that by doing a few.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so we can just actually eliminate that in the space of about a month. We can eliminate that because just by working on gut health, we can get that under control.
Okay.
Another thing I see cravings often being are nutrient deficiencies. So somebody's body's running on empty and constantly sending messengers. I'm missing nutrients. I'm missing nutrients. And so the person feels moved, eat because they're not filling that nutrient need. So
Mm,
again, that's an easy fix. We can get nutrients in somebody's body.
yeah.
And then treats, oh my goodness, yes, I treats are delicious. And like I like to end my day with dark chocolate, but I always just choose quality
Yeah.
treats. So I'm looking at the ingredients and I'm seeing, okay, these are my absolute no-nos. Like I'm not going to do seed oils. I'm not going to do refined sugars. I'm not going to do overly processed food, but there's lots of treats that are absolutely delicious that are whole food based and that just like, satiate you, make you feel good, but you also don't feel like you cheated because there's nothing to cheat. Again, we're
Yeah.
living a diet.
Oh goodness, I feel like we could talk forever. But I do want to, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about toxins, right?
I do.
And I think that's something that not a lot of people, even myself, are knowledgeable in. Tell me a little bit about food and toxins and how that plays a role in our health.
Yeah,
Big
toxins
question,
are
I
really,
know.
it's a huge topic. So let me just speak to one of the biggest ones
Okay.
and something that I feel like, a lot of us know seed oils are no good. A lot of us know that the ultra processed foods are no good.
Okay, I
So,
didn't know about seed oils.
okay.
Like,
All
are
right.
you talking about grapeseed oil?
So in seed oils, I'm talking about your canola oils, your
Oh, okay.
refined processed oils.
Okay.
Very inflammatory for the body. So if somebody's got a lot of aches and pains, right? You're dealing with constant chronic aches and pains, and you're eating seed oils on a daily basis. These are things that are like our French fries. When we go out to fast food, what are they fried in? Ultra refined processed seed oils, and it's super inflammatory for the body. So while potatoes are awesome, we might choose a different way to eat our potatoes as opposed to a French fry because they've been, that's just going to aggravate inflammation within the system. So, so I would definitely steer clear of those things. Now, the toxin that I really think needs more of, needs more of a voice, people need to be more aware of it, is something called glyphosate. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick kind of roundup of what it is. It's Roundup. So everybody
Okay.
knows what Roundup is, right? The herbicide that has been used since the early 90s
Yeah.
on our food supply. And it
Mm-hmm.
started out with GMO crops. They were
Right.
using it just on like wheat, corn, soy.
Yeah.
That's where it started back in the 90s. But where it's ended up now is just in North America alone, they used more than 400 million tons of that last year alone on our food supply. And this is something that you don't see on the label. There is no ingredient that lists glyphosate as one of the ingredients. However, it's in 75% of the foods that we eat, and it's in 95% of the beverages in the grocery store. So just imagine that you're going to the grocery store and you're wanting to eat, you're wanting to choose the best food for your family. Maybe you're even looking at the ingredients to try and make those choices. But if you don't know about this toxic herbicide, you could be putting this in your body on a regular basis. The reason why this is a problem is that in 2010, it was patented as an antibiotic as well.
Mm.
So this is something that we're putting into our system that is acting as an antibiotic. And it's been researched, linked, and studied extensively, connecting to autoimmune conditions, obesity, autism, diabetes type 2, um, all lymphoma and different kinds of cancers. It's really connected to a lot of the issues that we're seeing on a rise on a daily basis, especially gut issues, bloating, IBS, Crohn's, all of these.
So I guess what do we do if it's not even labeled? Like, how does someone avoid it if that's what's provided in the grocery stores?
Yeah, so you
Especially in
can't
somewhere
avoid.
like Canada, like we can't even like grow things in the winter, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is you cannot completely avoid it. There isn't really a way to totally avoid it. Now you can limit exposure, which is definitely a goal that people can have, is to learn how to be a smart consumer. There's a great third-party website called thedetoxproject.org. This is a nonprofit that is doing incredible research, and a lot of things that I have learned from them. They
Okay.
are paving way in research. And actually, they have listed on every year they put out a report with all of the most common foods, and they are testing these in FDA labs. They're actually testing all the foods that we commonly come across in our grocery stores and showing which ones are maybe ones to avoid
Okay.
and what are some great alternative options from other brands. So I'll give you an example. Cheerios is a high offender, but there might be other cereal companies that actually have a glyphosate residue-free label on the package. If they don't have that, USDA organic, or I'm not sure what the equivalent there in Canada is, but
Mhm.
any organic label is going to have the minimum amount possible. And then there are things that I do working with my clients to help get that out of their body. And I'm telling you this for a reason because actually the science is showing that this causes aches and pains. It actually gets stored in our joints and connective tissues and is causing even arthritic-like symptoms so that a person is constantly dealing with chronic pains. And it's just because this toxin is being stored in joints and tissues. But we can
And
get
to
it out.
that point, we can't avoid it totally. We still have to move our bodies to avoid aches and pains, right? Like
Yeah,
you could eat super clean and you'd probably have less aches and pains, but if you're still sitting all day, um, you're not like you're gonna be in pain because your muscles and your tissue and your fascia and your nerves and your arteries and your veins, everything needs to glide against each other. And then your joints themselves have synovial fluid, which is fluid that prevents the bone from hitting the cartilage, cartilage from hitting the next bone. And that fluid is not stagnant. It's constantly being replenished, but if you're not moving, I'm sure people have heard motion is lotion. If you're not moving, then it's like stagnant synovial fluid. So then things get swollen, inflamed. And like Tabitha just said, we need to move our toxins, not just through digestion, but through actual movement, which is why these things go hand in hand. We really can't treat like we are a whole person. We can't just treat one part. Like you need kind of total health, right? Requires
I
good
agree.
nutrition, good movement, good sleep, all the
And
things.
not
Go ahead.
like you said, no, it's not about being perfect. It's just, kind of educating yourself and doing the foundational pieces of health, which is moving your body and then nourishing your body as well as you can. And so that's why these two things come together is because you can't have good health one without the other. They're two foundational pieces, super important for every single person.
Yeah.
to find a way to do both that works for them.
Yeah. Amazing. A little bit scary. I'll admit it to you, like that. What was it called? Glyphosate?
Glyphosate, yeah.
Glyphosate. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. That's I do, and I'm just gonna be fully transparent here. I find that food can be really hard because of like the fact that we like where we live, we have to import vegetables and fruit and stuff because we can't
Mm.
unless you eat canned stuff, which maybe is arguably better. I don't know. But I don't have like a giant vegetable garden in my backyard that I can like grow things and then preserve for all year round. So I do depend on the grocery store like everybody else does in Ottawa and
Yeah.
Canada. And that can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming, right? To feel like nothing I buy is safe. But
Mm.
I think knowing that just trying to minimize it and like doing our best, it's not perfect. Like that's the best we can do, and that's okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There is no perfect. Perfect doesn't totally exist, but that is also one of my focuses is to really help bring clarity to my clients about when they find themselves in that situation. I mean, we have food deserts all over the United States. A lot of my clients are there and they find themselves in a quote unquote food desert where they go to the grocery store and they what is there is what is there. So
Yeah.
I do have solutions that I work with my clients just to help them to understand what to focus on in the grocery store and how to make better choices. Because it's not about making perfect choices, it's just about little by little making better choices, because that's
Yes.
what's doable and sustainable.
Yeah. And again, I love that little by little and better choices. Like we actually do always have choice. Like we have a choice when we are grocery shopping. We have a choice in our bodies. Like we can choose to move our bodies or we can choose to sit on the couch or sit at your desk all day. Like that's actually a choice. Um, and I think that sometimes there's a misconception that I need to get rid of my pain first before I can move my body.
Mm.
But you actually need to move your body to get rid of the pain, right? Like, sure, you can pop an Advil or Tylenol, but that's a band-aid fix. The healing true fix is using your body and using your mind to move your body. Same as nutrition. Like we can take, I don't know, Pepto-Bismol or like whatever medication that helps your gut, but that's just a coating. That is not the solution. It's not sustainable. So again, it just comes down to being really mindful, recognizing nothing's perfect, giving yourself grace, and that we do have a choice. And it's not easy, but it's worth it because we only get one body.
Yeah. So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody's like listening to you right now and they're like, okay, I know I need to move my body, Tatiana, but they just don't know where to start. They just don't know how to start with that movement. What do you suggest for them?
Um, so I think I touched on the XYZ earlier, but basically it's just thinking of your body as 3D. And it doesn't have to look perfect, doesn't have to look like cat cow in yoga. Even if you just got closed your eyes and got a little bit playful like a child, and you're like, okay, my body is a slinky, and I just like want to like it's like just thinking outside the box a little bit, right? Like, I think there's so much emphasis on perfection and, I have to do like X amount of squats and like sweat for an hour at the gym. Like, we don't need to do that. It would be great if you built up to that. But if you're just starting, you've been working from home since COVID. I actually have so many people I know that have worked from home since COVID and have not done cardio. Like it's like, wow. But that's okay. That's okay. You start with like a 5-minute walk at lunch. That's really not that much time. 5-minute walk at lunch, but do it every day. every hour you do the XYZ spine, right? Like I just showed you, and I'll drop my link in the chat. I have a little YouTube video that you can follow. And just those baby steps, eventually, after consistent practice, your body will start to feel better. I had this one guy who like literally hadn't lifted his arm because he's like his IT works at his computer. And all I did in my office with him was like, okay, like just like actually like move side to side like this. And he was like, oh my God, I don't think I've like lifted my arm before. But it's just like this is where
It's so tight.
it's so simple, but sometimes we just need a little bit of help. We're all busy. We have mental loads, decision fatigue. And this is where someone with this knowledge and passion, like Tabitha and I, this is why we do what we do. We love helping people get, better and positive transformation in their health through nutrition and mindful movement, mindful nutrition. And I think having a coach is really valuable because if you're so busy already and you forget to do this, are you going to Google everything and put it all together in a program? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does one work with you, Tabitha? How do we find you? How do we work with you?
Oh, thanks for asking that. So you find me on Instagram at my name, Tabitha Parenti. Also on LinkedIn and Facebook, same thing. And I work one-on-one with clients to develop simple, easy programs that they can follow. Even with, there's a little bit of meal planning in there, but it's really about working on those core foundational things, working on gut health, hyper nourishing the body. That is something I am super passionate about. We have enormous results from people just by actually getting nourishment into their system. And they're really simple programs. They're already set up. So actually all you need to do is schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me on my calendar. And we have a talk about what your needs are, how you're currently feeling, what your goal would be. I lay out a simple plan, and then, if the client decides that's the right fit for them and they feel good about it, then we work together over the course of a couple of months with an end goal about 90 days out to see real maximum improvement over the course of 90 days.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, so I can make that calendar link available as well so
Yeah,
that
that would be
wherever this is
fantastic.
posted, anyone's welcome to just have a chat.
So good.
How do they work with you?
Yeah, similarly, I do offer a Move with Ease assessment call. So basically we go through your health goals, what maybe you're struggling with currently, and whether we're a good fit to work together. My program is called the Move with Ease method. It's 12 weeks with options to extend if needed. And it's really born out of a passion that I've had for years, but I didn't have it all put together till last year. I launched it last year, and I really did see a need for it, particularly after the pandemic, because a lot of people work from home and have even less movement in their lives. I know that sounds crazy, but before COVID, you at least got in your car, drove, parked in a parking lot, walked to work. And now it's like roll out of bed and work. And like that little bit of, or like you go for a lunch walk with colleagues, but now you're home alone and you're just probably eating at your desk. So, and that compounds over time, that lack of movement. So just really giving people the foundation again on breath and connection to their inner core and how to move their body in all these, directions, but without sweating and without feeling like you have to carve out all this crazy extra time in your day. You can do it in your work clothes. You don't even need to change, but it's just these like baby actionable steps. And developing that true mind-body connection really is the key to alleviating aches and pains. And it's not because we're 40 plus. Like age doesn't mean we need to live with aches and pains.
Not at all.
The amount of clients I've heard ask me, I don't know, maybe this is what 40 feels like. And I'm like, no, it's not. So Yeah, just really, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, yeah, so that's my program. So it's not a quick fix. So I'm looking for people who are willing to put in their time for their body and prioritize themselves. But it works. I've had 12 women through the program and they feel very good. And
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds really good to me too, because you're describing the vast majority of people that I talk to, either really stressed out or really inactive due to this post-COVID, just
yeah.
work from home, super sedentary. And I love this concept of just really getting into how your body feels and moving with it in a way that feels good to you. I love your classes on Facebook and the
Oh,
things that you
good.
share
Yes,
on there. Yeah.
yeah. Come
So
anytime. And
everybody should be
actually,
following you
Tabitha,
there.
you just made me think of something like even moving your body moves your gut, right?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I do know, but like you tell me from your perspective, like, isn't movement part of like healthy digestion and healthy gut health or
Oh,
optimal gut health,
definitely.
right?
Definitely, but not only just gut health. I mean, it has to do with our brain health, our mindset,
Yeah.
as well as, all those, like you were saying, the lotion of the motion.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Motion is lotion. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. I mean, it affects every single, and I agree with you. What you said is so many people, they want the pain to go away before they move. But I really believe if you incorporate how Tatiana works with people and change your nutrition with how I work with you. I mean, honestly, I have clients telling me that 60 is the new 40. They feel better in their 60s than they did in their 40s. And the reason is this, they were able to incorporate both side by side.
Yeah.
And some of them that's doing a class, others it's doing yoga, others it's going for a walk. It doesn't matter, but it's that having the balance and doing them both because it's just the core foundation.
Yeah. I have so Bonnie is on Facebook. I don't think you can see it, Tabitha. She wrote, "You are a great coach." She's probably talking to both of us. I've worked with her before. Do you work with people with tight budgets? Do you have like a different payment plan? I know like she can jump on the call and maybe chat with you further, but just kind of quickly, do you have different options?
Absolutely. Yes, because I know everybody well, they have different goals and they have different needs. So no one is ever actually treated the same.
Okay.
Or even with the same budget because they just have different needs. So
Okay.
someone just tells me what their budget is and we work accordingly. That's part of the first conversation that we have together is,
Amazing.
yeah, what sounds good to you? Here's what I offer, here's what I would suggest, and if that sounds good, then we move forward.
Okay. Okay. So Bonnie, I hope that answers your question. Literally, Tabitha and I could probably talk about this for hours, but we should
Mhm.
wrap it up. But I think we need to do it again.
Oh, I would love that. I would love
Yeah,
that. We should do
and
it at least.
we can brainstorm maybe like today I feel like we kind of touched on like sort of like an umbrella and then maybe we
Mm.
could like pick a topic next time and kind of like zero in and give like our tidbits and our golden nuggets that people can take away. I think the biggest nugget today from you was looking out for that maybe you could drop that website link in the chat
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
was it glycine? I already forgot the word.
Glyphosate.
Glyphosate.
It's such a hard word to say. I totally
Glyphosate.
understand. Yeah.
Okay. And then you're welcome, Bonnie. And I will, oh, there it is. I'm gonna put that in.
And I'll put the detox. But
And do you wanna
and the thing I
that's
want to
a
share
toxin,
around
eh?
that. Sorry?
Sorry? Sorry, I
Did
didn't
you?
hear what you said.
No, I was just gonna say, the importance is not to be afraid around it or anything like that. Don't have fear around it, but just educate yourself. That's all. It allows us to be a smarter consumer.
I
And
love it.
I do a whole class on this. I do a webinar that's free that gives
Oh,
a full training on what exactly to look for
We'll
in the
send your
grocery
link.
store.
Do you have your link?
Yeah, so I will send the link to that so that everyone can plug into
Okay,
that. I'll be doing that in February in this month over the next couple of weeks.
amazing.
I'll
Well, make
post
sure you
that.
share it, at least email or like share it with me and I can share it with the group.
Yeah.
And I am also running my master class, which is coming up February 11th at Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's the master class on how to alleviate your back and neck pain. So look out for that. And is there anything else you want to add? I guess you should give me your link too on how to work with you, your calendar.
Okay, yeah, I can give it to you right now, but what I want to add is Tatiana is amazing. I'm just so blown away by everything that you shared, and I
You're so
love your way of working with people. So I'm excited myself to learn mindful movement through you. It just gets me
yay.
fired up. So yeah, I can't wait to join your next class myself and start to implement these things in my own body. I'm excited.
Amazing. Well, I'm probably going to do one soon, so stay tuned. And it's probably going to be centered around inner core.
Ooh.
Yeah, so definitely look out for that. Okay, so nice. Sit tight, Tabitha. I'm going to end the recording. And thanks for everyone who did come live. And if you're watching the replay, remember you can reach out and connect with us anytime. We're happy to answer questions. Okay, bye. Tabitha,
Bye,
sit tight.
everyone.